Howdy folks, I'm Brian.
I'm Amber.
And here's some Reddit. Our first story is titled, Am I the jerk for telling my wife to bring my youngest daughter with her? I have 2 daughters, Elise 15 and Addie 4. Addie is also my wife's daughter and Elise is from a previous relationship. Elise used to only visit every other weekend, but 2 years ago her mom died and she moved in with us. Since then, my wife has taken Elise out once a week to get lunch or dinner, and to shop and get nails done or go to the beach, as well as taking Elise out for ice cream or hot cocoa after her therapy sessions. My wife takes Addie out, but not as much as Elise when they go out. It's usually just to the park for ice cream or to the zoo. They're planning an overnight trip to a beach town a few hours for Elise's birthday, and Addie is upset that she doesn't get to go, so I told my wife to bring Addie with her. My wife said Addie wouldn't like most of the stuff that they're going to do, and even if she did, all of her attention would be on Addie and making sure she didn't run off or get hurt. I told my wife that Addie is upset about not going out with them, and she would need to make it fair, but she snapped and said that Addie gets the majority of her attention every day, and this is making it fair for Elise. She left and is refusing to talk about this again, so I want to know, was I the jerk?
Yes.
So, unpopular opinion. I think that, he should be allowed to, not have to deal with his daughters and his wife for this weekend and just kind of be left alone. And, think about this. This is the perfect opportunity for him to have some alone time. If he lets his daughters go with him, or his wife. And, they're all going to have a great time. And, he needs this vacation from his daughters. That's a pretty rough life, taking care of all of them all the time, So I think this is a great opportunity for OP. I think that he should totally be able to just take this vacation. And she's 4, right? 4-year-olds have to tag along with their mothers for weekends.
No.
How would you expect him to take care of her?
Easy, he's her dad.
And the thing is that you can't expect him to, take her out to somewhere special for the weekend.
Yeah, clearly, he's incapable.
So, where was I? Oh, yes. He can't be expected, Amber, to, take her out somewhere special and, hang out with her. That's just pretty unreasonable.
You can't expect dad to, actually do parenting things.
No. I'm glad we're on the same page here.
No.
I'm glad that we've all kind of arrived at a consensus that he just can't do this.
No. I think what interests 4-year-olds and what interests 15-year-olds are 2 very different things. He talks about the zoo
they're basically the same.
No, they're not. And seriousness. To a 4-year-old, going to the zoo or the park and getting ice cream is probably a really good time.
Oh, yeah.
And so he acts like the mom is treating her as lesser, but I think she just has different activities. Shopping and that sort of stuff is and manicures and stuff.
Yeah.
Is more fun for 15-year-olds, and going to the zoo or park is more fun for 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
And also, the 15-year-old has gone through a very traumatic experience. She is in therapy, probably because of her mom's death, coping with this immense grief. She's had to switch households.
Yeah.
And his wife is the poster of the perfect stepmom. She's making sure she feels included. And so it's I understand why he doesn't want Addie to be upset, but kids are going to be 4-year-olds can't always do the same things their older siblings do. And yeah, I'm sure that's frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also important for them to learn how to deal with that frustration. And it sounds again, the mom is still doing stuff with a 4-year-old. It's just not the same thing because they're not the same age.
Yeah, well, yeah. On a serious note, of course, hopefully no one actually believes that I'm serious. But the thing is that I agree with you completely here. This is more just it sounds like she has to spend every day taking care of Addie, and I think that OP should take her out if he's really that concerned.
Well, that's the thing is why can't he do fun things too? Because he talks about what she does and kind of this diminutive, she only takes her to these places. Well, if you want her to go to other places, why don't you take her to these other places?
Take her to a freaking museum, man. That'll catch your interest. That's actually interesting for me. That was the first thing that popped in my mind. Like, if I was a little kid, I want to go to a museum. But apparently, I was like, probably that's actually not what she would care for.
It depends on the museum. Like, the main Discovery Museum is super popular. Kids love it. So, our next story is, am I the jerk for not giving my boyfriend a bigger allowance?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say, judging from, like, the way it's been judged on Reddit as not the jerk, I'm going to say probably they are the jerk, and that OP deserves all of the money.
You mean OP's boyfriend?
OP's boyfriend. OP boyfriend deserves all the money. Yeah, I'm glad we agree.
No, we're certainly not in agreement. But let's read the story and dive in. Despite everything getting better, my 30-year-old boyfriend, I'm a 29-year-old female, lost his job last month when the store he was working at finally went under. We took a look at our finances, and I can support us by myself, though things would be a bit tight. My boyfriend asked if he could try and see if he could accomplish his dream of becoming a YouTuber/streamer/podcaster. I said yes for 6 months. If he can show that he's made a decent amount of money in 6 months, great. He can continue to do it and I'll support him. If not, it has to become a side job and he has to get something that pays better. He agreed to these terms. Now he has been busting his butt, and it hasn't been a full month yet, but clearly he's trying. He posts every day, streams every day, is constantly editing and recording and editing for other podcasters as well as for pay and favors. He's hustling. The issue is that I give him a weekly allowance to have fun with. It's not a lot, only $50 a week, but that's what we can afford at the moment. Now let me make this clear. All the bills are paid, there's food in the house, there's gas in the cars, everything is covered. This $50 a week is entirely for fun. However, he says it's not enough, that he needs more in order to go out with the boys and get drinks or order lunch, etc. I also give myself $50 a week, but I'm more on the nerdy side. I like cooking, my friends and I get together for game nights, D&D and potlucks, those kind of things. My boyfriend prefers bars and clubs with his friends. I told him no, that it would cut more into our budget when things are already tight, but he said it wasn't fair that I was able to have fun and enjoy myself in a way I wanted to, and still have money left over for video games and drinks. Since I don't buy them often, my allowance has built up, while his is gone every week. Am I the jerk here?
Well, I mean, I don't know if anyone can hear this. It's the world's smallest violin making the world's saddest song. Can you hear it whining?
Yeah, I'm gonna say OP is not the jerk here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll be serious for a moment. Why so serious? This is kind of silly. They're both getting the same amount, and I think that this is actually a really great way of handling finances.
Exactly.
He's going through his money. Why should she have to give him some of her money?
Exactly. Like, that's the thing, is like, they have an allotted amount of fun money that they can afford, and like, yeah, I understand why they want to have that set instead of like dipping into, oh well, let's not pay rent and just be fun money, like, you know, like, it sounds like $50 is what they can afford, and so like, why should she have to give him like extra of her money because she's better at saving? Like, they have this is I think a very good model of how to handle his household situation like this. Like, they each have the same amount of allowance a week, and I think that's a really good model. But I think he's being greedy here. And
I think so.
If he really wants more money, then he can get at least a part-time job.
Yeah, well, that's it. If he wants more money, then he needs to get a part-time job, or he needs to start hustling more and make his YouTube stuff go further. But YouTube is hard.
Yeah.
I post every day. I don't make any money. The total amount of money I've made off of YouTube is 0. It's a very round number.
Yes.
All right, our next letter is titled, Am I the jerk for wanting people to wait so I can be represented fairly in a family photo album? I'm a 22-year-old female, and when I was younger, I hated having pictures taken of me. I'd refuse, duck behind other people, or put my hands in front of my face. If people really pushed, I'd make rude gestures for the camera. I know I wasn't mature, I was a kid. I just didn't like the way I looked in pictures. My parents pushed me to be in pictures at first, like, oh, you don't want to be in pictures for Christmas? Oh, your grandma would love to see you in this. Oh, this will probably be the last pic we can get with all of the cousins, kind of thing. But when I refused, they stopped pushing. There aren't a lot of photos with me in them after the age of 10. I just don't like having pictures taken. I was a dumb kid. I got more comfy with the photos in college with my friends, but by then I'd moved out of the house. So there are a few family photos of me, like at Christmas after the age of 20, but not as many as other family members like my sister and brother. My grandmother started putting together a family digital scrapbook where they collect photos and share them with the family, and I'm hardly in it at all compared to my brother and sister. There are a lot of things where I was at the family event, like Christmas, but I'm not in the pictures. Sometimes the only thing for a whole year is my school pic. It also hurts to not be represented in the family just because I hated the way I looked in photos. I asked them not to publish to the extended family the digital scrapbook until I could give them enough current pictures to make up the difference. They said that they are happy to keep updating it with the current photos, but aren't going to wait to share it. It'll just be updated later, but I know nobody will go back and look at it again. I told my mom that I was mad, and she said she tried to make there be as many pictures of me as my siblings and cousins, but I didn't want it, and that's true, but I was just a kid and I didn't know better. Am I the jerk for asking them to wait so I can be represented? And edited ad, I'm a little annoyed that my parents didn't talk to me more about the consequences of not wanting to be in pictures. I was 10 through 16, I didn't really know. Is that unfair? Shouldn't they have talked to me about it more? I think it sounds like they did talk to OP.
Right. Well,
what were you going to say?
I was going to say, it actually seems like the parents handled it very well because they respected OP's boundaries.
Yeah. So here's what you got to do, OP. Get one of those reverse aging programs, take some pictures of yourself, reverse, them so that it, looks like you're a kid. Take those pictures, photo edit them into all the old family photos, and bam, you are represented 100%. So yeah, that's all you need to do. Easy peasy, pumpkin squeezy. I don't know why pumpkin, but we know it is pumpkin squeezy. So, that's my advice.
I mean, my advice is let them publish the scrapbook as it is. I mean, taking these newer photos might feel good for OP, but they're not going to make up for missing, like, childhood photos. Like, you can't just go plunk them down in with, like, Christmas 2010 or something like that. Like, it's just, you miss those photo opportunities. And I understand that as kids, we sometimes make decisions that we as adults regret.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had, usually they're not on this big a scale. Like, I definitely, like, looking at some of my old photos, I'm like, why was I doing that? Why did I think that was cool? But, like, I'm rambling, but, sorry.
There aren't many pictures of me around.
Yeah, so some of that was just because they were lost in a flood.
Yeah, well, many photos of me were destroyed. So there's very little proof that I was a child.
My family just stopped developing photos. Like, they have, like, tons of baby pictures of me, but, like, after about age 13, there's, like, a gap, and then when I got a digital camera, I took pictures again, but, like, my poor brother, there's very few of his childhood, because he was the last one of us, so, like, there's a pretty big gap for him. But, yeah, like, it's sad you don't have these pictures, but you made a conscious choice, and your parents are respecting your boundaries.
Yeah, and the thing is that there are consequences, and the thing is that at 10 years old, you're old enough to know certain levels of consequences. They told you that, your grandma would love to have these pictures. They tried to warn you that you were going to maybe someday regret this, and you didn't listen to them, and that's fine. Kids make mistakes, and the thing is that you now know that this is important to you to be included, so just don't repeat those mistakes.
Right, you can be in all the photos from here on out. You're going to be a little less represented in this yearbook, but adding a bunch of your adult pictures into it isn't going to, like, change things for your extended family.
And they're like, oh, hey, no one's going to look at the scrapbook after everyone's seen it, right? But are they really going to pay that close of attention to you in those scrapbook pictures anyways?
Right.
I mean, not to be mean here, but I mean, like, a lot of people when they're flipping through, scrapbooks and books like that, they tend to look for themselves.
Yeah.
Selfishly or not, but it just tends to be that's who they look for. Like, oh, hey, yeah, I remember that. I remember blah, blah, blah.
Like, if it's your extended family, like, they may, like, glance over it, but they're not going to be studying it looking for pictures of you.
Yeah, they're not going to be like, oh, I can't believe I didn't see blah, blah, blah in there.
Yeah, so it's not going to make that big of a difference, and it might actually just make things weirder if you have a bunch of adult photos in there, like just a page of OP as an adult, like, to make up for it. Like, people are going to be like, why?
Why is there now a whole page dedicated to OP as an adult? There's a shrine in here.
Just like montage after montage of OP.
Yeah. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thanks to Amber for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for watching. And if you like this video, consider giving me a like. If you dislike this video, consider giving me a dislike. And yeah, I guess we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.